In the heart of Ireland, in a small town called Tullamore, a young woman laced up her trainers, told her mum she'd be back soon, and stepped out the door for a run. It was a normal day, clear skies, broad daylight, a place she knew well, a route she'd taken before. Her name was Aisling Murphy, 23 years old, a gifted teacher, a talented musician, someone who gave her all to her family, her students, her community. She had plans, big ones, a future she was building day by day with the man she loved. But within minutes of leaving her house, something unimaginable happened. The kind of thing you hope never happens to anyone you know. The kind of thing that changes everything. Word spread fast, first through the streets of Tullamore, then across Ireland, then around the world. There was shock, there was heartbreak, and then there was anger. Because this wasn't just about one girl, one town, or one horrific moment. This was about something deeper, something that women everywhere recognized instantly. Her death didn't just spark a criminal investigation. It lit a fire, one that would bring thousands to the streets, one that would make even the quietest people speak out. But before all of that, before the vigils, before the headlines, there was just Aisling, jogging by the canal on a regular day. What happened next is a story of tragedy, of justice, and of the unshakable strength of a family and a country determined to make sure she is never forgotten. This is the story of Aisling Murphy. Welcome to Unveiled Crime Mysteries channel, where I unveil mysterious true crimes, some lost to time, others fresh in memory. Justice might not be served, but the shadow is unveiled. From early on, she knew what she wanted. She was going to be a teacher. Not long after she graduated, she landed her dream job at Douro National School. She settled in straight away. Her team said it felt like she'd always been part of the place. Her dad said she never slowed down. She made every day count. She pushed herself constantly, always chasing growth, always pushing limits. And she expected the same from her students, but never asked more than she'd give herself. She even took on one of the hardest instruments out there, the uilleann pipes, just to prove she could. Music had always been in her life. Her mum Kathleen was musical too, and Aisling followed suit. At school she did it all: choir, orchestra, camogie, traditional group, but the fiddle was her favorite. She stuck with it, and by her 20s she was among the top 5% of fiddle players in Ireland. She even played at the Tullamore Treadfest. Aisling was close to her family. No matter how busy life got, she always made space for time with her dad Ray, her mum, her sister Amy, and her brother Cole. She was also loved up. She and her partner Ryan had known each other since they were teenagers, met at a disco at 15, drifted apart, then found their way back. After that, they were glued together. They'd started planning a home, marriage, kids, the whole future. Ryan said she had the most comforting smile and infectious laugh, and no matter how low you felt, she could always pick you up. On January 10, 2022, Aisling dropped groceries at Ryan's place. His family were isolating with COVID, so they didn't come close. Just a quick hi and bye at the door. Ryan said he'd wanted to hug her badly, but they were saving that for the trip they had planned in 10 days. 2 days later, she finished teaching and got ready for a jog. She ran when she had time, usually to clear her head. This day was no different. Before heading out, she told her mum where she was off to. Kathleen had a bad feeling and asked her to run somewhere else. Aisling gave her a hug and said, Mum, I'm 23 years old. Love you," and walked out the door. She made her way to the Grand Canal, a peaceful spot, popular with walkers and joggers. At 3:15 p.m. on a stretch called Fiona's Way, named after a missing woman, 2 women out jogging noticed something off. A bike was ditched by the path. Then came a noise, soft and strange, someone crying. They thought someone had fallen and gone off the path, but what they saw was far worse. A man was crouched over a woman, holding her down. She wore a necklace that read, Aisling. The man saw them, snarled, and through clenched teeth, snapped at them to go away. The joggers said the woman beneath him was moving, struggling, twisting to escape, but not making a sound. Neither of them had a phone. No one else was nearby. They screamed they'd call the Gardaí and ran to the nearest house. When officers got there, they found Aisling lying still. The man was gone. Paramedics tried, but she was already gone. She had been strangled and stabbed 11 times in the neck. Her keys were found nearby. She'd tried to defend herself with them. Forensics said she fought with everything she had. She never gave up. On 12 January, just after 4 p.m., Gardaí arrived at the scene after a call from the public. They found a woman with severe injuries. Medics tried to save her, but she was pronounced dead where she lay. That part of the Grand Canal is loved by locals. It's a safe place. Aisling Murphy, a young woman from the Blue Ball area, was the victim. A whole town reeled. Her school, her pupils, her friends, shattered. A full murder investigation kicked off immediately. Specialist Gardaí were brought in. They vowed to leave no stone unturned. At that point they believed it was a random attack by a man acting alone. They said Aisling didn't know her killer. They asked for help. Anyone who'd seen anything strange. Anyone who'd seen a man matching the description. One key detail: he wore a navy padded bomber jacket with unusual stitching on the back. The bike nearby, a Falcon Storm mountain bike, had green markings and straight handlebars. They appealed for any information on that bike, where it had been, who owned it, if it had been nicked. They even looked back over the previous few days. Data from Aisling's Fitbit helped piece together a clearer timeline. She started her run at 2:51 p.m. At 3:21 her movements turned erratic. By 3:31 p.m., the Fitbit stopped recording her heartbeat. Gardaí said they believed the man had cuts or bruises, injuries from Aisling fighting back. She'd used her keys. Her will to survive was fierce. An arrest came quickly. A 40-year-old man was taken in just hours after Aisling was found, but he was innocent and released. Online his name and photos spread fast. He got death threats. Gardaí had to move him to safety. The murder stunned the country. Tullamore was silent with grief. In homes, schools, cafes, everyone talked about it. For young women especially, fear took root. Some had walked that path just days before. One local said, "It just makes young people like us think you're not really safe anywhere." Another added, "I shocked when I say she was out for a daily jog and just life gone from her now." People hugged the Murphy family tight. They shared stories. They cried. They stood together in disbelief. Anger grew too. One woman said, "This is a woman's worst nightmare." She pointed out that Aisling had done everything right. Broad daylight, public place, familiar area, and still this happened. The Gardaí promised justice. No effort would be spared. Detectives explored every possibility. Robbery, sexual motive. Still no clear answer. But one thing was certain. Aisling had done nothing wrong. Her story spread fast. News outlets everywhere covered it.
24 hours after the brutal murder of a young woman out jogging along the banks of the Grand Canal, widely used for recreation, Tullamore and the wider area is this evening numb with shock and grief.
On social media the world mourned, but soon came the familiar comments. Why was she running there? Why was she alone? Activist Laura Bates pushed back, writing, "It doesn't matter what they were doing. It suggests the case wouldn't have been quite so awful or tragic if she had been doing something else." By then it had been 2 days since Aisling died. Across Ireland and beyond, thousands gathered in candlelight vigils, some led by politicians, others by friends, all united in pain and love. The head teacher spoke first. She looked worn out, voice shaking. "It's very, very hard to think that she was here in school yesterday as a teacher and teaching her first-class students, and today they have come in with little tears in their eyes and their teacher not there." The shock ran wider than the playground. On 14 January, a small knot of mourners stood outside the dial. By 4 o'clock that crowd was 1,000 strong. The Tyus, Michael Martin, arrived. Future leader Leo Varadkar showed up too. He said the killing had pulled the country together in solidarity and revulsion. Gardaí pressed on but stayed tight-lipped. Behind the scenes they found an email sent at 10:44 p.m. It opened to who it may concern. "I am the person responsible for Aisling's murder. I am so sorry." They traced the account, cornered the sender. He confessed to drink, blackouts, fragile mental health, swore he had no link to the crime. Checks cleared him. Dead end. Then came the break they needed. 2 days after Aisling's death, a 31-year-old limped into a hospital far from Tullamore. Cuts, bruises, scratches across his face. Nurses called Gardaí. He gave no clear story. Detectives ran his background, seized 2 cars, searched 2 homes, one in Dublin, one 8 minutes from the canal. Questioned in his bed, he muttered about a man in a blue mask, said he couldn't really remember. When shown Aisling's photo he answered, I look at the news but don't speak English, can't understand it, and went silent. Interviews rolled on. The tale twisted. First he tried to place himself as a witness, then a helper. Suddenly he burst out, "I did it. I murdered. I am the murderer." Officers cautioned him. He kept talking. "I'm sorry, I see girl I never see before. Knife, I use for chain. When she passed, I cut her. I cut her neck. She panicked. I panicked." He sobbed. "Will I go for 10 years? 3 puncture wounds scarred his stomach, marks that matched Eisling's keyring defense. DNA from her fingernails nailed the link. While detectives pieced the rest together, hundreds gathered on 18 January for Eisling's funeral. Outside the church, a reporter's voice carried, "She was the light of their lives and her murder has stunned Ireland." The president and his wife held her parents close. Schools held a minute's silence at 11. Her own pupils lifted drawings of their teacher as the cortege rolled past. Ryan stood up, trembling, and read his goodbye. "Is the greatest love of my life. I will cherish the last 5 years we spent together, my entire life. I hope that someday, God willing, we can be reunited once more, and continue the great plans we have made for each other. Goodbye for now, but not forever, darling, as you will live on in all of our hearts and memories." As the coffin was lowered, Gardaí confirmed the hospital patient had been arrested and charged. News cameras cut live. Commentators called it a big step, but reminded viewers that rage and grief were still raw. The suspect was named Joseph Puška, a Slovak builder, father of 5, living in Tullamore since he faced court that night. Crowds and cameras jammed the street outside. Witnesses lined up. One woman said he cycled past her slow and sinister, stared her down. She saw him again on the towpath, walking his bike, eyes fixed on her back until she hurried to a van for safety. CCTV showed he tailed 3 other women before he found Isla. Investigators believed he set out that day to attack anyone. Puška now denied everything. He blamed a masked stranger, claimed confusion, said the hospital confession never happened. 5 others, including relatives, were later charged with hiding evidence or stalling the case. When the trial opened on 17 October 2023, prosecutors rolled out CCTV, DNA eyewitness accounts and his own words from the ward. The defense clung to the mystery attacker. They called Dr. Johan Grundlig, an ICU expert, who argued painkillers, surgery, stress, and language gaps made any confession unsound. Under cross-examination, he admitted nurses recorded no sign of delirium, and Puška had at most 8 milligrams of oxycodone in his blood. The prosecution struck hard in closing. They called the Good Samaritan tale foul and contemptible. They said the only victim in that canal clearing was Aisling. The jury prepared to deliberate. 9th November 2023. The jury took 2 hours. They filed back and declared him guilty of murder. He lowered his head, covered his face, made no sound. Mr. Justice Tony Hunt addressed the court, and the 12. "We have evil in this room. There is no doubt about that. There will be a day of reckoning for Puška." He thanked them for wasting no more time on Joseph's nonsense, praised the defense for doing its best with poor stuff indeed, and said the facts were enough to make anyone sick. He excused them from jury duty for 20 years. As they walked out, the gallery burst into applause. Sentencing followed on 17 November 2023. The judge said only one outcome was possible, and gave Puška the mandatory life term. Ryan faced the dock and said, "I have to somehow carry on without her." "You smirked, you smiled, and you showed no remorse, which sums up the kind of person you are, the epitome of pure evil. When your day of reckoning comes, may you be in hell a whole half hour before God even knows you are dead." Puška stared at the floor. The judge added that, if the law allowed, he would have imposed a whole life order. Anyone considering release must weigh the killer's silence on motive and lack of remorse. Soon after, Puška was moved to a padded cell under constant watch. Reports said he had tried to take his own life. Inmates had warned they were after him. His family still insist he is innocent. A Garda spokesman said, "Would like to pay tribute to Eisling's family, our mother Kathleen, our father Ray, our sister Amy, brother Kyle, and indeed our wife and Ryan. The courage, the dignity, the resilience and the strength that they have shown during this ordeal has been exemplary. I want to assure them on behalf of Unguide at Truecrime that we will continue to support them going forward and give them all the support we can, where necessary." The Murphys released their own words. "At this moment in time, on behalf of the Murphy family, I would like to take this opportunity to express our deep gratitude to all of our family, friends and community, for their unwavering support since our Aisling was stolen from us 22 months ago on the 12th of January. From day one, the outpouring of love and support was felt in abundance from the Irish people, both on a national and international level. She was not only an integral part of our family, but she was also a huge shining light in our community, a community in which year in year out she gave back to as best she could. Words cannot express the gratitude to all members of Ungada, Sayakona, who conducted and pieced together a robust and thorough investigation. We wish to formally thank the prosecution, legal team, Justice Hunt, and also our family liaison officers, Sergeant Lucy McLaughlin and Detective Garda Alan Burke. We'd like to also thank the victim support at court team, who are always there for us, always waiting to help us at any given moment. We would like to also thank the members of the jury for reaching this verdict. Sitting through the hiring evidence of this trial was not an easy task, and will be forever grateful for their patience and resilience throughout this incredibly difficult process. It is simply imperative that this vicious monster can never harm another woman again. Thank you. Across Ireland, the conversation deepened. People spoke about women's safety, about teaching boys, about ending violence. Some cases, Sarah Everard, Anna Kriegel, Jill Mega, become national turning points. Aisling Murphy's is one of them. Ryan knows he will spend more years remembering her than living with her. Amy says they are consumed by what can only be described as nightmares, that we weren't there to save her. Aisling did so much for absolutely everybody, yet no one was there when she needed the most. As a big sister, I could not protect her while she was alive. All I can do now is protect her memory, and as a family, we will continue to set the table for 5. Thank you for watching. To support our channel, kindly like, comment and share. Please don't forget to subscribe for more daily videos.